Greetings, everyone. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
And welcome to Before I Do. Our responsibility, our honor is to guide you through courageous conversations on dating and relationships. So for those of you who are single, who are dating, who want to be married, don't know if you want to be married, you are tuned in to Before I Do.
Absolutely. And this show is intended to be interactive. So when we pose those questions, we want to know your thoughts, your feelings, and we definitely want to know your experiences. So feel free to chime in. And again, we want to have courageous conversation with you. And so, yeah, we look forward to tonight's show.
Absolutely. And speaking of tonight's show and questions, tonight is one of my favorite nights of the month. It is Speak Now Q&A night. So we are actually here to answer your questions. So go ahead and get your questions poured into the chat, and we will answer your questions live on the air tonight. And again, the reason why we instituted this is because most of the time we have theme nights with our show. So there are certain topics that we go over and review, but we wanted to set aside a night specifically to answer any questions that you may have in regards to dating or relationships.
And we are practitioners, so we specialize in premarital counseling, but with Couples Academy. And you know what? There's we call it Speak Now because there's a popular expression that says "Speak now or forever hold your peace," right? When during a wedding ceremony. And so we want you to speak now. A lot of times people don't ask those big, courageous conversations. And so we call it our Speak Now Q&A because we want to encourage you to ask those bold, courageous questions. And if you're not having those courageous conversations in your relationship, you should start.
Absolutely. So we are here to answer your questions. So be sure to get those into the chat. We actually are going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Speak Now Q&A night right here on Before I Do.
Welcome back to Before I Do. Tonight, we have our Speak Now Q&A. And so that means that you can put your questions in there. What questions do you have about relationships, relationships with yourself, relationships with someone else, married, dating, thinking about it, not so much anymore? Whatever those questions are, we want you to pose them. And so we want to shout out a couple of our listeners tonight. Thank you for using the chat area. Want to shout out Laquita Jennings. Yes. Hello.
Hey, baby girl.
Thank you for listening and tuning in. And guess what? Roll call all the way from St. Lucia. Yes.
Caribbean.
Yes, for the island. So we thank you for tuning in as well.
Absolutely. All right. So we actually have a question that we're going to go ahead and jump into. So here's our first question of the night. How do you know when a person is the one? Now, here's the short answer to that. Nobody can tell you when a person is the one. Like, nobody can tell you that. It is something that you have to know specifically for you. However, as practitioners, what we do say is that there are a couple of things that you can use as a check and balance system. The first thing is that you want to make sure that you know your principles and your values that you live by. There's a big conversation now about this whole thing when it comes to red flags, being able to identify what red flags a person has that you need to be mindful of. And part of that is that when it comes to red flags, what may be a red flag for you may not be a red flag for me. But you won't be able to readily identify those things until you've clearly identified what your principles and what your values are. And so what you don't want to do is to get into a marriage or get into a long-term relationship with someone where you haven't properly gotten a grip on and understanding who you are. Now, you will understand more about about yourself as you get into a relationship, but it is so important that you recognize and identify your principles and values before you commit to a lifelong relationship with someone.
And we really stick to the principles and values, because a lot of times when we get this question, how do you know if a person is the one? Really, the question, the question really under that, the hidden question is, how do I know if this person is the perfect one? Usually that's what they want to know.
Right.
And so we live in a day and age where we want perfection. I want the guarantee that I'm not going to be hurt. I want the guarantee that this person is not going to disappoint me. And if really that is the fear, that is the question that's underneath this question, how do you know if a person is the one? Then it does go back to, first of all, if you're intentional with your dating, you're intentional with, first of all, and that's why we love doing work with individuals. So, oh, well, I'm not engaged yet, so I don't need to talk to Walter Charmaine. No, woman, man, go ahead and reach out to us, because we want to make sure you're ready today. We want to make sure you're ready if those are desires you have, but you need to know what your principles are. What are your values? What are you wanting to build with someone? And that you're solid, because you're going to attract, and you're going to be able to speak into existence and in your life individuals who align with where you're going and what you want.
The other thing that we say too is that it's very important that you not marry someone until you've been able to observe them in all four seasons.
Yes.
The 4 seasons of the relationship, akin to the 4 seasons that we have in life. When you have what we say is that when you first meet someone, that represents the springtime. Charmaine likes to say that you're not even necessarily meeting them, you're meeting their representative.
That's right.
They cross all their T's,
That's
they dot all the I's, they're buttoned up, they're on their best behavior, because they're trying to actually get close to you and get to know you. So Charmaine actually makes a very good point that you often too want to be very careful of the things that you reveal to a person as it relates to what you look for in a specific partner, because what you'll find is that people will become chameleons, where they will allow themselves to adapt to what you say you want in a person until they get what they want, or they get close to you, and then their true colors begin to be shown. So you move from spring into the summertime, and that's when things get hot and heavy and heated. Usually you have that physical intimacy that kicks in, and again, it can be a very exciting and it can be a very great time, but again, that is not the totality of what it is like to actually deal with that person. You've only observed them in 2 of 4 seasons. Now the fall, that's when you get into the removal of the leaves, when you get to peel back some of those layers, when you get to see how they interact potentially with people. You start hearing about how they interact with people on their job, how they interact with people in their family. You're observing them when you go out to interact and do different things together, and they're yelling at people, honking at folk, road rage, different things that happen. It's like, wow,
sending food back to the kitchen and never
with an attitude. Exactly.
So you're seeing all of the emotions. There's so many different emotions on the emotion wheel, right? You're getting to see you're seeing the good side, you're seeing the bad side.
Absolutely.
And so that's what fall starts to do. It's peeling back those layers that often, can reveal how is this person when they're at their peak stress moments.
And then you get into the winter time.
Yes.
And of course, the winter is when things grow cold. And that is usually around the time when you all have your first argument.
Yeah, because things are getting a little boring, a little stale. We've been going to the movies. We kind of do the same thing. We go to the same eating spots. And so now the novelty of the relationship is kind of wearing off by winter.
Absolutely.
And so again, how do you know when the person is the one? First of all, you need to come into it and have solid morals, values, and principles that you live by so that you can attract that. And then you, through the 4 seasons, will be able to see if this person fully aligns with those things in all seasons, and so I think that's big.
Absolutely.
How did you know I was the one?
How did I know you were the one? To be honest, you know what? I remember it specifically. And so, and this actually goes into the next question somewhat. So I was actually out one night with 4 of my best friends.
Are you going to tell them where you were?
I will tell them that I was actually at the club and I was completely sober. This was during my, I'm not going to say the name of the club. It
was a type of club.
This club was so, as they would say nowadays, lit, that it doesn't even exist anymore. Oh. You know that a club is hype when the club doesn't even exist anymore. So I was out with my best friends. I was completely sober, and at that time I did drink, but I was completely sober, and I was in this club, and I was just looking around, and you know what? I turned to one of my best friends. I said, you know what? I'm going to marry Charmaine. And part of the reason why is because in that moment, you know, people were interacting and doing different things, and it was like I don't want to be the person in here looking for what I already have. I already have a good thing. And in that moment, I recognized that you were the one for me. I had observed you in all 4 seasons, and you checked all my boxes when it came to my principles and my values. And again, with a sober mind and a full heart, I was able to make a clear, conscious decision on that night.
Well, I knew that you were the one for me because you know, you offered friendship. I believe that you saw me. You saw me and you shared your heart with me. And I don't know, a lot of guys, they guard themselves. They guard their hearts. They guard their true feelings and emotions. And I mean, I felt like you were an open book. You wrote me letters. You shared your emotions. So you gave me and offered me your heart. And you trusted me with that. And you know, and you align with my morals and my values, and in all the seasons when we were dating and you went through the different hardships or whatever, both of us, you were the same person.
Yeah, and I appreciated that. I really appreciated when I walked through various trials and challenges in my life that I could be vulnerable with you. That I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel like my manhood was on trial. You never emasculated me. You were always very mindful of the way that you spoke to me during times when I might have been upset. And I appreciated that. And so those were things that, again, for me, were a telltale sign that I have found the one. And 22 years later, ring the bell.
Yeah.
You still the one, like the song.
I'm still your girlfriend, your wife. Yes.
All right. So question number 2, as I mentioned, it goes right into it. Now, this is a good one for you.
Uh-oh.
Is there a right or wrong way to propose to someone?
Oh, I got to take a breath on that one.
Is there a right or wrong way to propose to someone?
Oh man, so this one is a challenging question. So we appreciate challenging questions, and it's challenging because for me, the word right and wrong, it to me, it puts people in a box. But I will say this: when it comes to proposing to someone, I think there's two parties involved, right? And so you have to be genuine and unique to who you are. And so we have some very creative beings, and relationships are a reflection of the uniqueness and the unique personalities of the two people involved. And so I will say, you know, the right way to propose is that it is authentic to you and your partner, which means, you know, to say there's a wrong way, to me, it's only wrong if you're not ready. If they're not ready, if you're proposing because of a circumstance, you know, and you really don't want to do it. So to me, the wrong way to propose is if you're proposing and you really don't want to propose. All right, I'll marry you. Ouch. Like nobody wants that proposal. So to me, there are some non-examples for proposing when you really don't mean it. You really don't want to. You really haven't gotten confirmation that this person is the right one. And to me, the right way to propose is being confident that this is the person you're supposed to be with, confident that in the way that I propose, it's going to reflect who I am, and it's also going to acknowledge and affirm and admire who they are. And it's really the start to the beauty of what you aspire to build with that person.
So part of the centerpiece of a proposal and an engagement is a ring. So say I found the right one, I know she's the one, and I want to propose, but I don't have a ring. Do I wait for it? Do I wait for the ring, or is it okay for me to propose without a ring?
And you know what? That question is really, I think, again, unique to the couple. There are couples who they don't even wear rings. So I've seen couples who they get a tattoo ring around their ring finger, or they get tattoos as a permanent symbolism of their love. Ring, we know that as marriage counselors and relationship counselors, a ring, it's round. And it's round for a reason, and there's symbolism in that. Circles, represent infinity, right? And so when you get married, the goal of it is to be forever. And so you have individuals who wear rings as necklaces. So there's a lot. Again, people are being very creative, but as far as do you wait until you have a ring? I think there are a lot of men and women that will say yes, you should. Because there should be something that's symbolic of what you should be willing to invest in a symbol that's going to represent our union and our forever. And what is that? Now, again, it may be a ring for some couples. That is tradition in our Western world. That is tradition, but there are tons of stories out there about how unique people are becoming with proposing and what they're proposing with. But I don't know. I think if you didn't have any money and you still wanted to marry me and you proposed, I think I actually would respect, I think I would have respected whatever it is. I think it would have been tough and it would have provided some pressure, because that's the first thing people do is like, oh, you're engaged. Let me see your ring. And it's just like, because of our social norms here, it can be tough for, I think, both parties. I think it can be tough for you because people are looking at you like, I mean, you broke. Like, why didn't you present a ring? And for the woman as well, it can be kind of tough if she doesn't have a symbol of your love.
Well, part of what you're alluding to, both of these together, is consideration. So that consideration on both you as the individual that is proposing and the individual that you are proposing to, making sure that you're making a conscious decision and effort that is a true reflection of your relationship and the desire of both individuals that are within it. And understanding too that even if you get it wrong, that's fine, but you want it to be done in a way to where consideration was at least given of that person and what it is that they will desire.
And I will say this, and I'm just going to tell the truth. I had an event company and I would provide wise counsel for some of the couples that I supported. And earlier on, starting out, a lot of those couples did not have money. They did not have a lot of money, right? And so they would ask, we live in a day and age where we have Amazon, and I'm going to tell you, you can buy a $50 ring with, with crystals and things like that, sterling silver, and that ring can be the most gorgeous thing ever. And so the question becomes, is we also advise our couples not to go into debt for a party. Absolutely. The wedding is the party, but the marriage is the lifestyle that you're building.
Can you ring the bell for that?
Yes.
That's a good one.
So we don't want you to go in debt. You're trying to floss. You're trying to, portray, he bought me this $3,000-$4,000 ring. Okay. And really, research shows the more money couples actually spend on their wedding and ring and all of these things, sometimes the marriage is a lot shorter. And couples who spend less money, a lot of times their marriages last longer. So again, I would encourage some of the couples, they didn't have money for a ring. Okay, spend $50 or $30 and buy a ring that's sterling silver with some crystals or whatever. Because it's a symbol of your love. And people say, well, it's fake then. My love will be fake if I give a fake ring. The bottom line is it's just a symbol. The love is the thing that needs to be real.
So part of our platform, as far as with premarital counseling, which is what we specialize in, is helping couples to focus more on the marriage than the wedding. And so there are so many couples that they get tripped up with all of the nuances of planning a wedding that they don't plan for a strong, proper marriage.
Yes.
They're so concerned about the ring, they don't get premarital counseling. They're so concerned about the wedding, they don't have savings for where they're going to live after they do get married and different things of that nature. So putting the cart before the horse. So really important that but we will say this too, that the proposal process can provide a peek to what life may be like as it relates to decision making with planning and finances with that individual. So don't discount that and take that for granted. It is something that you do want to make sure that you plan out and take serious, but also that you have the right intention and be considerate of the person as you do so. Hey, y'all, we're going to take another quick break. Y'all got some good questions. Be sure to put them in the comments section. Any questions that you have, you're tuned into. Before I do, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more of your questions.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Thank you all so much for tuning into Before I Do. You're in the midst of our Speak Now Q&A night right here on the Couples Academy Network. Want to give a big shout out to Gail from Trinidad and Tobago. We are international with this thing, y'all. Thank y'all so much.
My fellow islanders, yes. Y'all didn't know I was an island girl. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, okay. So we got a question. Yes, so we got a question. So question is, how many sessions do you suggest for premarital counseling?
Okay. And so let me tell you, so some people, it differs and varies for different people. If definitely first time getting married, it depends on the couple. So 8 hours, we suggest a minimum of 8 hours because we do a deep dive, thorough. We do audits of personality types. We audit your trauma because, again, we want to make sure that both of you are prepared to support each other in those things as you are building this life love story. So 8 hours minimum, okay? Other couples, we go 12 hours and, definitely 12 hours of contact time.
Ideally, our curriculum is actually set for 12 hours and it gets into everything from finances to your foundational family to your trauma, future family, how you show up and handle
love,
trauma,
forgiveness,
grief,
all of those things. So we
get all in your business.
Yeah, we do. Health and wellness, what are your goals, business and wealth building, and so making sure that both of you comprehensively know what you guys are going to work toward building together. Right.
And no, that's not 8 hours a week. That's
No.
That's 8 hours total. Yes. So let's say, for example, you wanted to do the counseling you wanted to do it over a 2-month period. So that would be 1 hour session every week.
Or 4 2-hour sessions.
Correct.
And we've definitely done a lot of 4 2-hour sessions to get that 8 hours as a minimum before marrying couples. So.
Yeah. We actually had a couple that got married a few months ago, and they were about 3 weeks away from their wedding. And so we actually did multiple sessions with them over like a 2-week period. And so they were able to get their 8 hours in within those 2 weeks. And so shout out to them. They were actually from Curacao.
Yes.
Actually, so all my island people that are listening, they're actually from Curacao. So
yes. And yes, I love the fact that you say it's the first time getting married, first time marriage as well. We have, and we do talk about different types of marriages. And so nowadays, society is changing a little bit. We got married when we were we considered ourselves to be very young, but we had a cornerstone marriage. Cornerstone marriages meaning we didn't have wealth. I think I was a senior in high school.
We built life and wealth together.
I didn't have a career before Walter. He didn't have a career. We didn't have finances. So we built that together. That's a cornerstone marriage. And so that's a unique relationship. And then we have capstone relationships where we have nowadays a lot of couples, they are in their 30s, they're in their 40s, and there's their first marriage. They already have built their career. They've built some wealth, property, maybe even have children involved. And so we provide unique premarital counseling according to the couple that we're working with.
So our first time user, they actually have they're actually following really said, would 1 hour a month be good for 12 months? They don't get married until 2024. The goal is to make sure that we counsel before spending a lot.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And part of the great thing is because you all don't get married until 2024, you can actually plan it out a little further. But the consistency is the important thing.
Yes.
So that 1 hour a month, those breaks between, you want to make sure that you get with practitioners like Charmaine and I that have a curriculum that's going to help you provide work to bridge you from 1 month to the next.
Yeah, our comprehensive program is 12 hours of contact time with us, but then we also have an hour of pretty much of homework, things that we have you do when you're not with us. And we use arts as a form of supporting our couples. So movies and different things that we assign you to do strategically to support the courageous conversations that you both will have.
Absolutely. So as we get ready to go into 2023, if you all don't get married until 2024, that is a good time next year to start those premarital counseling sessions, and definitely do something every month leading up to that time. That's a great question. So definitely reach out to us if you're interested in premarital counseling, because that again is what we specialize in doing, and that's part of our passion. And our background is actually what got us into it. We did not get premarital counseling. And we both come from families where my parents have been married 60 years, her parents have been married 50 years, and we still almost didn't make it. So
literally leaving from the wedding,
from the court, from getting married, from the courthouse.
Yes, and we were like, I made the worst mistake of my life. And we don't even argue.
Exactly.
We don't even argue. But the conflict and attack already started. Marriage is a beautiful thing. And the moment you say, I do, those conflicts and attacks come. And if you don't have the strategies to know how to weather every storm, again, it's not going to be perfect. But the perfection is knowing that whatever we go through, we're going to handle it. We're going to be able to work together to get through it. And so the perfection is having the strategies, knowing how to work through and support each other through trauma, through triggers, through things that life naturally are going to bring your way.
So again, important point. Just because you come from a family or a background where everybody's married and your parents are still together, that does not guarantee success for you in your marriage and relationship.
Absolutely.
And just because you come from a broken home or a home that has not necessarily had a great track record when it comes to being married, doesn't mean you're doomed for success in your marriage either.
Right.
As Charmaine mentioned, it's making sure that you get the strategies and the tools to know how to navigate your marriage and relationship, because every relationship is different. But one thing that all relationships and marriages have in common is that you have to have a plan for success, because if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Yeah. Grant, we all love saying I do, right? For the better part, but it's the worst part.
Grant says, I feel counseling is needed when married, but it can be very expensive. But if you guys are doing counseling free, then it's a blessing. Married for 7.5 years, but had tragedy happen 2 months after I got married, and feel as if it's affected my spouse and me. So Grant, to your point, absolutely. Now, what we will say is this. Marriage, just like most things, is an investment.
It is.
So just because it's not free, it is an investment that we encourage you to make in your relationship. And so that is a really important part of making sure that you show value by having the right individuals that are speaking into your marriage to make sure that you get the strategies and the tools that you need.
Yeah, investment is the word. Imagine, and we have to look at it as a part of our health and wellness. Literally, individuals who get married tend to live longer. Their health is a lot better. And the question is, are we going to be proactive about our health and wellness? Because either way, we're going to have to make an investment. And so premarital counseling or even if you're already married, it's not too late. You can do a wellness check. You can do a coaching cycle of a couple of weeks where you check in, you go get your checkup. It's like going to the doctor, right? And making sure you're doing those diagnostic annual visits. And so with married couples who have already been married, it's not too late. Even the two of us, we do annual wellness checks on our relationship to make sure we're healthy. And what are we working on for this year? What am I individually working on? What is he individually working on? And what is our collective work that we have to do together?
And what we want to say is this too. Remember, maintenance is usually cheaper than repair.
Yes.
What that means is when you're doing the proactive work, when you're getting the premarital counseling, when you're again working on strengthening the communication and the things within your relationship, then that's going to be on the lower side when it comes to the financial obligation. What happens is, especially with Couples Academy, with couples in crisis, with couples on the verge of divorce, do you know how much it costs to get a divorce?
Tell them.
The worse your relationship gets, the more expensive it becomes. Think of it like your vehicle. With your vehicle, part of what you want to have is a good maintenance process and a schedule for that. You want to avoid those costly repairs because it's falling into a place that you haven't maintained and taken care of it. So it's the same thing when it comes to your relationship, that a small marginal investment in the beginning may help save you for some high-end repairs later.
And I will say Couples Academy works with the finances. The CEO has a passion. Both of our CEOs have a passion for this work and to support couples. And so, don't allow finances to be something that's a roadblock. Whatever your situation is, our CEOs definitely will work with you to support the process.
Absolutely. So Quee says, wait, you have to do a marriage session before you get married? No, you don't have to, but you should. And what we do say is, and it may be different in different states, but here in the state of Florida, you actually get a discount on your marriage license when you do get premarital counseling. So again, there is a financial savings that takes place when you do have premarital counseling. But again, that's something that even if you didn't, it helps. It shows that there is what's the percent again? A 30 or 20%?
33% resilience. So for couples who get premarital counseling, they have a 33% higher chance of staying together than couples who do not. And so again, you're getting those strategies and tools. And divorce costs it starts at about $30,000 to $40,000. I believe that one of our practitioners always says that divorce starts at that much. I mean, people spend hundreds. I think it just came out with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. He has to pay $100,000 a month in child support. Like, people will spend more money on the back end of a divorce than they're willing to at least invest every year annually in getting some wellness checks. So reach out to us. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely. And last but not least, to close out tonight, says we love Danielle. Use the whole name.
The whole government
Danielle
name.
Marie Pettiford and Hassani Pettiford.
You better speak the names.
We love them too. We are so gracious. We are so honored to be in partnership and fellowship with Danielle and Hassani. Again, we're practitioners with the Couples Academy. We have the privilege of serving them. This is now almost December. Next month would have been a year that we've have the honor of working with Danielle and Hassani, and what they have been able to do with the Couples Academy has been absolutely phenomenal. And so we are so blessed to be a part of it. Hey, everyone, this has been Couples Academy Q&A night. Thank you all so much for your questions and your comments. You all can join us right here each and every single Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Please, if there's anyone that you know that's dating, if you enjoyed tonight's show and you're like, yeah, I need to make sure that my friends are tuned in. Anybody that you know that's dating, that's interested or curious about marriage, anyone that is even turned off the marriage, maybe there's something that would help them as it relates to their dating life, or potentially change their mind about it, or at least make sure that they get more information or make a good informed decision. We are right here each and every single Wednesday night at 9:30 to talk about, before I do, all the things you should do before getting married.
Absolutely. So definitely tune in each week. We are here. We are your Couples Academy practitioners. We want to hear from you. Book a session. You are in a relationship with yourself. So invest. Make sure you are ready. If you aspire to be in a relationship, the bottom line is you are in one with yourself. So reach out to us, connect, so you can definitely be on the path to fulfillment and getting everything in this life that you want and desire. Thank you for tuning in. This is Before I Do, and we will see you next week.
Peace, everybody. Good night.